Hi everyone, welcome to my channel and to this time-lapse version of a very spring themed little demo of a great tit in soft pastel. If you enjoyed the speedy version of this, the full real-time tutorial will be over on my Patreon channel where you can paint along with me, make use of all the extra photo references that I release to my patrons. But as always, if you enjoy this speedy version here, then please do hit subscribe on YouTube. Give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, I'd love to hear from you. This little piece is on Pastel Matte and it's the dark anthracite colour of Pastel Matte. I figured that with the lovely colours in the reference photo, it might be nice to bring some of that light out from a darker background. I don't always use a darker paper, but anytime I do, I really do love to see the light appear from the darkness, and the vibrant colours always seem to look so strong on a dark surface. So this is just 12 by 8 inches and it will be my mini demo for this month over on Patreon. These are always smaller demos with people who don't have as much time to devote to painting in mind. So these are usually a bit less of a commitment in time and something that you can work along with in just one or two sittings. Now, where I live, I am very lucky to see these beautiful little birds flying about in my garden, just outside my garden when I go for walks. And I've been collecting photo references like crazy over the last few weeks because, of course, with springtime here, all of these little birds are super busy. They're building nests. They're coming out of winter now and preparing for spring and summer. So I've been busy as well, stalking around with my camera with the big lens on, trying to get as close as I can to these little creatures. And I do love painting small birds, especially because, well, we get to examine them up close, which you never get to do in real life. They're always keeping far away from you. And I encourage them to keep far away from my garden actually, because with both my cat and my dog, I fear for these little birds. So I try not to encourage them to come to my garden. Instead, I try to go to where they are and just spend time there with my camera. So this year I've got a lot of shots of both the great tit, which is this one, and also the blue tit. And these are two of my absolute favourites. I've been trying to capture these two in particular for many years now. So I've painted a lot of other little birds as demos, sparrows, chaffinches, but I had not managed to capture either the blue or the great tit. So this year I'm delighted to get so many lovely photo references. And this little one is sitting in a pomegranate tree, and those little red shoots that have just started to appear. I absolutely love this shot with the little vibrant red bursts of colour. It's got a real fresh springtime feel to it. What I didn't anticipate though was how tricky these little branches would actually be. They're very thin, and it was difficult to try and create some of them that have very crisp edges, some of them that are a bit more out of focus, so giving us a sense of distance within this piece. So the branches were actually trickier than I imagined they were going to be. So I hope that if this is something you also struggle with, that the mini demo will be a great help and that we'll work through these tricky little branches together. So at some point here, I do get a bit bored of just working on branches, and I decide to take a break from the rest of the branches here over on the right side and to make a start on the little bird. So sometimes I'll do that if I get a bit fed up with one particular part of the painting, I'll just take a little break from there, move on to something else. And what better thing to take a break with than this gorgeous little bird? I was so looking forward to getting on to the detail on the great tit. So as always, I'm starting off with the darker colours that I can see. So there is a little bit of black used, and then dark navy, dark purples. And the main thing I'm doing at the start is just getting a sense of the light and shade. So on the left side of the bird, there's a lot more shadow over there. And then down this right side of the bird's face and down the front of the chest, we get the brightest light there. So that's really what I'm trying to capture. And that's the same when I'm painting anything. I suppose what I am really painting is the light and the effect that that is having on the subject. And if I can capture that, then the subject should look convincingly 3D and real. Of course, the little details are also important, and for that I'm using some bits of pastel pencil as well. Certainly, anytime I paint a tiny bird like this, there is definitely a place for pastel pencils, because just look at all the size of the little eyes. So of course the sharp points of my pencils are useful, but still a lot of the time, even with that bright bit of highlight on that eye, I've still used a little shard of soft pastel stick because of how brightly it goes onto the paper. And then I can use the sharp point of the pencils to come in and neaten the shape of the highlight, for example. So lots of lovely colours in this piece. That's one of the reasons I love painting birds. Sometimes you get to use such a beautiful combination of colours. Nature really knows how to do colour theory. We can learn so much from painting nature. So just starting to detail the feathers on the wings. And of course, some of those little stripes of colour are really quite fine. I'm still putting quite a lot of it down using the soft pastel sticks, but like I said, then coming in around that with the pencils just to neaten up the details. So this month over on my Patreon channel, this will be the mini demo. But I am not done with tiny birds because I'm so pleased with some of the shots that I have managed to take this spring that I'm going to keep painting these. So I've got a lovely blue tit lined up next. And all of these will be released on my Patreon channel along with bonus packs of photo references, because no matter how quickly I paint, I can never make use of all of my photo references. So I always aim to take lots and lots of photos. I'll pick one or two that I paint and turn into a demo, but the rest of those shots then get released to my patrons on Patreon. Whatever theme it is I'm painting that month, I always try to put together a bonus pack of photo references based on that. So a couple of months ago I was painting the wolves that I managed to take some great photos of. And of course then there was a big bonus pack of photos of all my extra shots of the wolves. So if you don't want to paint exactly what I'm painting in the tutorial, you have the option to choose one of the other images. It'll be quite similar to what I'm doing, but it'll be a different composition, perhaps a different background. But my hope is that you can take the techniques that you'll learn from the tutorial and then apply those to a different image. And you've got lots of my images to work with, royalty free, copyright free, so you can make use of those extra photos however you wish. So do come and check out my library over on Patreon. I've got so many tutorials there now. And hopefully I'll be working on another little spring themed bird very soon. Please do remember to hit subscribe here on YouTube. But thanks very much for watching, and until next time, happy pasteling.